All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And before I go to sleep today, we're just going to do another velocity banking review. Now, hopefully, I clickbaited you into watching this video because I put the original OG clickbait face, which is Kevin McAllister from Home Alone. And what we're going to do today is learn to pay off our debts. Three cars in 11 months, and how do I know it three takes 11 months to pay off three cars? Because this is the exact same video as the previous one. So let's go ahead and get started. So, velocity banking, what is it? It's just a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt with the help of something called a line of credit. So, first step to velocity banking is you have your income, expenses, and then you have your leftover savings. So, we can see here that $71, not a good situation to be in, especially if you're making this good of money. Is that even grammatically correct? I don't even know. But I'm sleepy, so I get a pass. Anyways, all right. So, here you have your expense breakdown, and in your expense breakdown you list every single debt that you have, right? So you see the three car loans here, three car loans. Let's see how fast we pay them off today. And then we got a mortgage at 3%, and then we have our general expenses, food, gas, insurance, and all the good stuff, yada yada yada. Okay, so now we're going to do the velocity banking side. So same income, same expenses, but guess what? We're not saving money. Okay, so you see this right here? This is going to be zero. And let me go ahead and actually zoom in on that. You see, if we zoom in here, see, here's the thing. If you ask like the average person, what's better, saving $71 or not saving money, they will always tell you this because that's the social conditioning of the general population when it comes to the banking system and what the criteria for success is. Okay. So instead of saving money, we're going to have something called cash flow. Okay. And we're going to try to increase this cash flow by moving some of our debt into a line of credit. And so, if you want to see how this looks like in my real life, this is like my checking account almost every single day where I don't have any money in my checking account. I just don't have it, right? And so money comes in and it just goes right out, and that's what it does. It's different than most people. Different from most people. Most people they feel like they got to save money, but hey, if you got money, you got debt, just pay off your debt. I mean, Dave Ramsey's kind of right. You know what I'm saying? And so what we're going to do is use the help of something called a line of credit to help us pay off our debt. So what's a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So a credit card's a line of credit, but then you also got home equity, personal lines of credit. You got all of it. This is my $280,000 home equity line of credit, but guess what? I won't have access to it after next Friday. You know why? I'll tell you why. I got I got a new $373,500 line of credit. You see this? You see this? Whoa, let's take a look at that. Whoa, 373,500. So, I don't, unfortunately I won't have access to a $280,000 line, but it's okay. I'll have access to a $373,500 line. And here's the secret to getting lines of credit. Okay. I tell you this, but most of you don't listen. And, there's going to be a point where I'll be like, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And then because you have some people who are new to the channel, I'll probably skip steps. Did you know that the more advanced you become at this, the worse kind of a teacher you become? I think it's like when you go to university, you ever notice that the more senior the professors, the worse they are as a teacher, and then the TA is like the best teacher, and probably because it's like, I could just do this in my sleep, and which I can, I can, and and I say this as a person who kind of speed ran my mortgage, and if you're new to this channel, I mean, you probably don't would be surprised to know that I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. But I don't know if the rest of the audience, the veterans of this channel, who've been watching this channel for a long time, are sick and tired of hearing it. Because I'll be honest, I'm kind of sick and tired of saying it. Because I'll tell you why. When I tell other people that in real life, like I'm talking about my real life in my like local area, they act like they didn't hear me, even though I know they heard me, right? But I did, and you just stare at this, and people are like, "Well, you can't have done all what you said you did," and I was like, I don't even believe I got this 14 grand check from a tenant either. I don't believe it, right? But the secret, okay, I'm going to tell you the secret to getting money from the bank, okay, is banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? And I say this as a person who has over $697,000, 540 cents in lines of credit by next Friday, because that's when I'm gonna close and have access to the funds. Okay. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. They don't. And if you understand that principle, you'll be able to get a line of credit. Now, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to assume we have access to a $95,000 line of credit free and clear. Now, would this happen in real life? No, probably not. 95% no, because you need money, right? So what's the point of me telling you this? It's don't ever get here, right? It's like getting car insurance. You don't want to get the car insurance after you crash the car, right? Like you don't want to get it after you crash the car and you had no insurance. You want to get the insurance before you drive. Same thing with the line of credit. The bank is a risk management institution, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but the bank won't work with the vast majority of people because they know that the vast majority of people, when it comes to getting credit, only try to get it when they need it, right? That's why the bank, you ever get turned down by a bank, it's like, well, I need the money, so I'm going to go to a bank. And then because most of the population doesn't work like a bank, that's why most people go to friends and family because your friends and family probably don't know that they're not supposed to lend money to people who need it. But the bank knows that. The bank knows that, okay? Alright. You ever, like, lend money to people and then they didn't pay you back? It's probably because they needed it, and the bank knows that, okay? Okay? Alright, give me 1 second. Alright, so I just paused the recording for one moment. Had to wake up a little bit, but what was I gonna do? Oh, yeah, increase the cash flow. So let's move these credit cards into the line of credit, and how much is that? $82,000 of debt, 8% line of credit. And guess what happens here? Oh my goodness, didn't the payments go away because we just simply shuffled some debt? And then we literally went from $71.33 to $2,813 of cash flow. Hmm. Let's think about that, right? See, here's the thing. This number here is kind of invisible when you're doing velocity banking. So when your friends see your bank account here and that you're not saving money, they'll be like freaking out because this number is just not available in your bank's interface, right? So people feel good when they save money, okay? But that's not what we're going to do. And then the last thing that we do is we put our entire paycheck into that line, making the line of credit in our main operating account, right? Put the entire $7,800 in there, take our expenses out, and then rinse and repeat over and over again. And after every single month, the balance goes down $2,813.83. So let's go ahead and pay that sucker off. Yes. All right. And so to get the next month's balance is based on the previous month's balance, previous month's interest, minus our cash flow, which is 2813.83, right? And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, right? Average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. And then paycheck in, expenses out, paycheck in, expenses out. And then we just rinse and repeat over and over again. Rinse and repeat over and over again. And so we're going to do this. And then in 33 months, it is all paid off. 33 months. All right. So 33 months, we paid off 82K of debt. And I'm going to copy and paste here. And then look at these 3 car loans. How long does it take us to pay off the 3 car loans? Let's figure it out. And we have this loan calculator here to figure out with these car loans, how after 33 months, what's the current balance? So we got these 3 balances right here. Let's go ahead and sum it up, okay? I'm going to go ahead and sum everything up to G5, oops, sorry, G4. And that's $46,000 of debt. So let's move $46,000 of the remaining debt we have for the car loans into that line of credit. And then we see right here, we move it here. So let's go ahead and add it. Plus 46,442.42. And then now what happens to the car loans? Well, we get all that cash flow back from the car loans, 000. And then, well, blam, we get $4,351.39 in our cash flow. So now that we've increased it bigly, let's go ahead and, oh, did I screw up? I may have screwed up. All right. So let's go ahead and then do this, and it'll be 4351.39. Okay, and then all right, so now, okay, and then this is 44 months. The 3 car loans were paid off. And so how long did it take us to pay off those 3 cars once we started focusing on them? 44 minus 33, 11 months to pay off 3 cars? I got to bring the clickbait Home Alone face here. I just forgot to copy and paste it. But yeah, 3 months, or not 3 months, 11 months for 3 cars. Exactly. Now, let's go ahead and do this. So 44 months. And then that's going to be 82 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40. So it's going to be 172K. Dang, that is so quick. And then do this. And then we could probably get a new home equity line of credit that's probably bigger than the 95,000, right? I think this is going to be my 4th home equity line of credit. This one here. First one was a 15 grand. Second was like 50. Third was 280. Fourth is 373, right? 373. I don't even know why I'm laughing. I think it's because none of this feels real to me, you know? I remember back in the day, it's like, whoa, the bank gave me a $5,000 credit card. And then I'd be like too afraid to call the bank for a credit limit increase. And now it's like, if the bank gives me a new credit card and it's at least, if it's less than $10,000, I'll be like, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's right, boys and girls. I'm a size queen when it comes to credit cards. Okay. I'm just kidding. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and do the 30-year mortgage. And now we are somewhere 44 months. And I'm going to cheat here a little bit because I got this velocity banking calculator already and filled out. So you just fill in the information, and then you here's the thing: you don't move the whole loan into the line of credit, because if you do, right, you see how you're paying a little bit more than you have to, 33 grand versus 11 grand, right? You don't want to pay 3 times more, even though 33 grand's not that bad. I'm just saying, you hear some nonsense on the internet about how you always have to move all loans into a line of credit. And this is very dangerous, especially when it comes to a 30-year mortgage. You do that with the 30-year mortgage, it could be over. In fact, a 30% credit card will actually be, and take a look at this, 16 grand, a first lien HELOC replacement, meaning you move this whole thing into the line of credit, right? So let me just do this 8%. We'll do $8,000 chunks, meaning we just move a small amount of the loan into the line of credit and then rinse and repeat over and over again. And we pay it off in 3.5 years. And again, I just speed run through this now. It's like so easy, you know? And the worst part is, okay, I know what's going to happen once I leave my house, because I try to teach this to other people in like my local vicinity. And I swear, when they use Excel, it is so painful for me to watch. And it's like, you need to go to a 10-hour Excel boot camp. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that to insult people. I'm just saying I didn't even know Excel until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, really, right? So again, a lot of people lack practice. They lack that finesse. And I say that as a person who um never intended to actually be a Excel YouTuber, right? Like, it's weird. Like, that's the last thing I ever expected to be. You know what I really want to be? I want to be a video game YouTuber. Like, I wanna play, like, Tekken, you know, that fighting game Tekken? And then play on stream, and it's like, "Whoa, people are gonna watch me, I'm be so cool." Nowadays, I don't even know what makes, like, a gamer streamer popular. It's, like, totally random to me. I'm like, you ever, like, watch that episode of Simpsons where it's like, what was cool back then is, like, I understood, but then now whatever's cool now is scary to me, and it's gonna happen to you too. I'm at that point in my life, you know? But anyways, 7.17 years, and it took us 11 months to pay off 3 cars. So you can see right now that I got that, you can imagine I have that Kevin McAllister Home Alone face. It's shocking, right? It's shocking, but most people are asleep. In fact, I'll be honest, if I didn't know velocity banking, I don't know how I would have survived having a rental property, right? Like, the average cash flow of a rental property is like $200 a month if it's good. I was like, what the fuck? Like, real estate is so overrated, right? If you don't do it right, but if you do it right, you have a tenant give you a 14 grand check, and then you just sit there and feel guilty that you got all this rent without doing anything. It happens to me. And in fact, that's why I can't be, I can't probably need to be a little bit active in whatever it is you're doing. I think if something that you do is completely passive, it'll kind of destroy you because human beings weren't meant for total comfort, right? But anyways, what am I even talking about? Well, I don't know about you, but do you think it's shocking? Do you think most people would be shocked to see 3 cars paid off in 11 months? Actually, you know what? Because I have such a skewed frame of reference, I really need to ask ChatGPT this because, like, ChatGPT kind of grounds me in reality. Is like, do most people, and actually, let me do this. I just did a velocity banking presentation where I paid off 3 cars in 11 months. Um, b- but because I've been doing 1,000 plus presentations on YouTube, my frame of reference for sure is skewed. So, so what would the average person think when they see this for the first time? I want to see what ChatGPT says. You're absolutely right to check your frame of reference after doing 1,000 presentations. It's easy for yeah. You paid off in three cars in 11 months. Actually, does ChatGPT still have the oh, they brought back the read aloud. All right, that's cool. So let's go ahead. I don't have to copy and paste it into whatchamacallits, into I can't even think, it's like 1 a.m., 1:20. Yeah, let me go ahead and play it. That's cool. All right.
You're absolutely right to check your frame of reference. After doing 1,000 plus presentations, it's easy to forget what the average person might experience when encountering velocity banking for the first time. Here's how the average person with little or no exposure to velocity banking might react when they hear you paid off 3 cars in 11 months. Initial reactions. 1. That sounds impossible. Paying off 3 cars in less than a year sounds outrageous to most people. Their default assumption may be that you either make a massive income or got lucky. 2. What's the catch? People are conditioned to be skeptical. They'll wonder if this is some kind of scam, gimmick, or sleight of hand, especially if they've been burned by financial advice before. 3. This is over my head. Velocity banking can sound complicated at first. HELOCs, cash flow hacking, interest float. The average person may feel intimidated and assume it's too complex or risky for them. 4. I want that, but the outcome is incredibly appealing. Debt freedom in record time, but the average person might doubt whether they personally could pull it off. What they might be thinking internally: do I need to be good with numbers to do this? Won't I just end up in more debt? What happens if something goes wrong? Can this work if I have bad credit or live paycheck to paycheck? Ways to anchor it for a first-time viewer. To make it land better with someone new. 1. Show small, relatable wins first, like how someone paid off $5,000 in credit card debt in 3 months. Then show the three-car payoff. Ease them into it. 2. Use very clear visuals and analogies. Break down how money flows in and out. Use the bucket, analogy, or show how interest works on a graph. 3. Address skepticism head on. Even just saying, I know this sounds impossible, that's what I thought at first too, can build trust. 4. Give a baseline. Compare this strategy with how long it would normally take someone to pay off 3 cars. Would you like feedback on your presentation style too, like tone, pacing, or storytelling from a fresh audience perspective?
No thanks for now, but it's funny, the things that you learn along the way. And by the way, to kind of end um this video, I'm just going to show you with pictures how the bank sees you the when you need money, and it's no joke. When you go to the bank and you need money, it's no joke. Even for the joker, it's no joke. Bank won't lend you money, right? And this is actually a chat GPT generated image of, can you draw a picture of the bank not lending money to people who need it? And all right, we'll end for today, folks. This is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Remember, banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? Say this 1,000 times, and you understand why. Like, I'm so surprised when people don't think like me, because I've literally brainwashed myself more than anyone else to do this, just because yeah, I'm like that, right? All right. So that's it for today. Korean to mentorship. See you all next in the next video.